So the Carrier Bryant rooftop units have had ABB VFD drives for a number of years. We've had the ACS 320 model and the ACH 550 model. These models do not come with keypads and so cannot be field programmed. When you order a replacement drive, you will get a keypad with a replacement drive in order to program the replacement. ABB is in the process of switching over to the new ACH 580 model, and it will have a keypad built into the drive. In this video, we're going to talk about setting up a replacement drive, and one of the first things that you need to make sure that you have is the installation, startup, and service instructions for the particular machine that you're working on with the VFD drive. This is very important, as there will be important information in this manual that you will need to program the drive. One of the first things that you should do is take a picture of the data tag on the blower motor. This lists the voltage, the amp draw, the RPM, the horsepower, and so forth. This is data that you're going to need to input through the keypad into the drive. So this is a screenshot of the appendix and the tables that you have in the back of the installation guide we just spoke of. And we're looking here at table C, which are the VFD parameters for the ACH 550 ABB drive. In this table, it will list the VFD part number, the replacement part number, a description of the motor that it's driving. This is a 2.9 horsepower at 230 volts. It will give you the motor part number. And then the next number of items, you notice that underneath the voltage is 9905. This is a parameter in the VFD drive that you can program. So when you are going through the parameters to program the replacement drive, under 9905, you would select the 230 volts for this motor. The nominal amps, 9906 would be 9.2. 9907 would be 60 hertz, the motor frequency. 9908 would be the 1725 RPM. And 9909 would be 2.9 horsepower. The next items that you come across are other parameters of the VFD. And you'll notice that here you have the 1201 and so forth down the line, and it lists what you need to set these parameters at. So as you go through the document where we're setting up the parameters, these are the values that you want to set in the replacement drive. So as we said, the original drive on the unit does not come with a keypad, but you can buy a keypad for troubleshooting. You should keep one for this purpose. The part number for the keypad is CRDISKKIT001A001. Without a keypad, all you have is a green light for power and a red light for the faults. But you don't know exactly what's going on unless you have a keypad to read out the fault and to see what's going on with the drive. This is the keypad that will be available on the new ACS 580 drive. The part number is the CRDISKKIT003A00. ABB also offers a Bluetooth keypad that, together with their app, can be paired to your phone or your tablet. So when you install the keypad on the drive, the first thing that you want to look at are the parameters. This is where you're going to do the majority of your work to set up the drive and change the parameters. Please note that the assistant is something that you do not want to use. We'll talk about that in just a second. Also, the change parameters is a very useful tool, as if this is an existing drive and you believe that some maintenance person or another technician has gone in and changed things in the drive. You can go to this change parameter setting and it will tell you what parameters have been changed. Many times by doing this, you can just change the parameters that have been changed back to what they should be, and the drive should operate correctly. Another thing to note when you are doing programming on the ABB drive, the drive needs to be off. So on the keypad, you need to hit the off button and make sure that it says off in the top left corner before you start changing parameters. If the drive is still on, any changes that you make will not be kept. Whenever you start up a keypad on a new drive, you'll be asked if you want to use the Startup Assistant. Always say no. If you say yes to the assistant, it is going to override all the factory VFD configurations, and you will have to totally reprogram the drive in order to make it work. So anytime the drive asks you if you want to use the Startup Assistant, make sure you say no. So here we are in the category of the 9900, and this is where we're going to start doing our work. The first thing, as we said, you want to make sure that it says off in the top left corner so that any changes you make to the parameters will take. And so we're working within the menu of parameters. And the first parameter you want to go to and change is 9902. This is the HVAC default setting. When you go to this category, you want to select it and edit it and change it to any other selection in the category. Then you're going to save it, and then you're going to go back into 9902 and put it back to HVAC default, and then save it again. What this does is reset the drive to the factory defaults so that we don't have to go back in and reset all the defaults that are in the drive. So this is the first step that you want to do before you start correcting any of the other parameters within the menu. So this is a cheat sheet that we devised a couple of years ago for the ACS 320 and the ACH 550. This lists a number of parameters that have to be set correctly for the drive to operate. In each category, you'll notice here that your 9900s are your motor data, which you get off the data tag on the motor, and you have it for the ACS 320 as well as the ACH 550. And then you have notes. The 9902 that we just talked about resets the factory drive defaults, which is the first step you want to do. And then there are some that if they are set incorrectly, you will get a 1006 fault code. So by going down through the parameters and making sure they're set correctly for whatever drive you're working on, this usually reprograms the replacement drive and will make it to work the way that it should for your particular unit. In the installation manual that we talked about, there are a couple of charts that will list the fault codes. So like we said, if you do not have a keypad, all you're going to have is a flashing red light that tells you that you have a fault. And until you get a keypad, you won't really know what the alarm is. But these alarm codes will flash, and these charts in the installation guide will tell you exactly what's going on and what needs to be corrected in order to get the drive out of alarm and ready to run. You need to keep in mind when you're working on any VFD drive that it can be bypassed and you can run the blower without the drive. This is very helpful if a drive is not immediately available and you want to get your customer up and running the same day. Most rooftop units run constant fan anyway, and so by running the motor without the VFD is no problem. Many VFDs have plugs that you can switch the wires coming from the motor so that the drive is taken out of the circuit. On some systems, you may have to install a contactor using the input to the drive as the 24-volt coil input to pull in the contactor and run the motor. In any case, any VFD drive can be bypassed to get your customer up and going as you wait for the VFD drive.
Go to arefco.com for more videos, like, subscribe, and check back every week for new videos.